All right, guys, we are doing a little collaboration today. You guys go check out Everything UFOs. She's a friend of the channel and, a true investigator seeking the truth. And, you guys know, I got a little credibility. I only collaborate with people that I trust. So you guys go check her out. Sub to the channel. All right. So today, I'm excited about this. Today, we're going to talk about UFO researchers that have mysteriously vanished, disappeared. Right? Now, but I briefly want to go back to the beginning. Kenneth Arnold, 1947. He was the first to see a fleet of UFOs, and around that same time, there was another UFO incident that Kenneth Arnold was involved in. And I know you guys have heard of some of this, but bear with me. Okay, and he was sent there to investigate. So let's fast forward a little bit. This bizarre UFO sighting, it's where, people started to vanish, disappear. And it's happening up to this day, 2018, 2019, possibly 2019. But it goes all the way back to the 40s and 50s, guys. I'm telling you, this has been going on for a long, long time. Okay? So again, I'm trying to jump through it. 2 boatmen reported a UFO sighting and some type of hot lava, white metal substance falling from the sky. Now, like I said, there was some type of hot molten material falling to earth. One man was badly burned. His dog was actually killed by what was believed to be a UFO that had caught on fire right above their head. Also, later it was reported it could have been, some type of nuclear, I have a hard time saying that word, nuclear material, falling from the sky. And that was in some, report from the CIA. Now, I don't have validation or verification on that, but, again, that's what I heard. You guys, most of you have heard this, so let's get to what you haven't heard. Okay, the 2 guys claim someone in a black suit approached them and told them to never speak of this again. And basically, this is where the cover-up begins. This is where people vanish, disappear, die, unfortunately. Well, and I was having a hard time with the video. I was a little bit afraid to make the video because there's a lot of censorship going on, but we're going to do it. Like I told you guys, we will bring you the truth, the absolute truth. Now, again, let's fast forward a little bit further. Kenneth Arnold brings in 2 military officials to help him investigate the UFO sighting, Captain Davis and Lieutenant Brown. Remember those names because, guys, remember, like I said, there was a lot of UFO sightings back in the 40s, 50s, 60s. They recovered some type of material that was retrieved from the UFO crash that Kenneth Arnold was investigating. The 2 military officials were quickly ordered to bring everything back to the military base at Hamilton Field in California. Okay, do I need to recap? You guys following along so far? I think you are. Okay, during the flight back to the military base, suddenly one of the engines on the plane malfunctions, and the 2 men are killed in a horrific crash near Kelso, Washington, or Washington State, rather. And it gets even crazier than that. The death of Captain Davis and Lieutenant Brown was called into a local newspaper from an anonymous caller reporting the crash and the death of the 2 men before it was ever made public, before anyone knew about it, before anyone had time to know about it. And remember, guys, they didn't have, cell phones back then. The plane went down, and it was just immediately reported to the press. Now, that's a little bit odd. Now, you got to remember, guys, this is back in the day, okay? Now, it was reported to the press along with the identification of the 2 military officials. So how would anyone have that information? How would your everyday citizen reporting something they saw have that type of information? And again, guys, this is all documented. I can leave links below. The anonymous caller said the aircraft was shot down, here's where it gets crazy, by a 20-millimeter cannon. What? A 20-millimeter cannon, and the anonymous person claimed it was because they were carrying the fragments of a crashed UFO. I mean, I had to pause there. That is crazy. So look, basically, we have 2 men and a dog killed, surrounding this UFO incident. And Kenneth Arnold was nearly added to that list shortly after, when he took off from Tacoma Airport. I believe it was Tacoma Airport. Fact check me on that. He had to make an emergency crash landing. Just another coincidence? I mean, I don't think so, guys. I mean, now Kenneth Arnold, making crash landings. After 2 men had died, a dog had died, there had been other people that died. We'll get to it. Okay? Now, upon investigation, it was discovered that his fuel switch had been mysteriously turned off right? And this had to have been done manually. And according to Kenneth Arnold, he did all the pre-flight safety checks, and the fuel switch was definitely on. He set it up to the end of his life, that he feels that he was being targeted. They were trying to kill him, basically. So like I said, he believes someone tampered with his aircraft. Also, a reporter, Paul Lance from the Tacoma Times, was a well-known whistleblower, and he suddenly died of meningitis 2 weeks later. Now, Paul Lance was one of the reporters covering all the bizarre events, and some believe he was getting too close to the truth, and he developed a mysterious case of meningitis, right? Okay, I'm not laughing at him, but okay, mysterious case, right? Now remember, I mentioned the name Fred Lee Chrisman earlier. If I didn't, I meant to. Now, that was the man that had recovered a very large amount of what was believed to be the UFO fragments from the downed UFO. Well, here's where things get really, really crazy. Okay, Fred Lee in October 1968 was subpoenaed to go before the grand jury because he is now under investigation for the assassination of John F. Kennedy. What? Like what? Look, I was reading this earlier, had to go back and read, and I've studied this before. But how crazy is that, right? The district attorney, Jim Garrison, thought he resembled one of the three people involved in the presidential assassination, and he was believed to be a long-standing CIA employee. I mean, guys, I can't make this stuff up. So now we have three people that have mysteriously died, okay? An undercover CIA agent collecting debris from a crashed UFO, right? And that CIA agent was nearly charged in a presidential assassination. This can't be coincidence, guys. And of course, Kenneth Arnold nearly died in an emergency crash landing. And remember, he was the witness to the original UFO sighting. And back then, it got a lot of buzz, a lot of media, a lot of attention. And of course, the mysterious death of the whistleblower that somehow contracted meningitis 2 weeks after the UFO incident. He was reporting, he was trying to get to the truth, kind of like we do here on the channel, and he mysteriously dies. So lots of people died surrounding that. Now, could all this be a coincidence? Sure. Possibly, but I say, look, where there is smoke, there is fire, right? And look, let me check out my video here, guys. Look, we're going to back that up. We're going to back it up. I told you guys I start talking and I can't stop. Now, let me go, look, we're about to go down the rabbit hole for about 30 seconds. Now, we talked about the assassination of Kennedy, and all the connections, Kenneth Arnold, all of that. And now Marilyn Monroe comes into the picture. I wasn't even going to bring this up because you guys are going to think I'm crazy. Now, Marilyn Monroe was allegedly murdered because she was speaking too freely about UFOs. The night before her death, she had spoken to the TV celebrity columnist Dorothy Callaghan about the Roswell saucer crash of 1947. Also, Callaghan died under mysterious circumstances on November 8th, 1965. Now, could you just kind of rope all this together and come up with a crazy conspiracy theory? Probably. But again, guys, where there's smoke, there's fire, right? And we all know what happened to Marilyn Monroe anyway, so. But I had to throw it in there. I had to throw it in there, all right? But anyway, look, that's my first example of many, UFO-related tragedies that ultimately ended with people losing their life. Now, up next, I have to mention Phil Schneider, right? Dulce, New Mexico. As many of you probably already know, he was a whistleblower for the alleged secret underground base in some type of alien war in 1979, right? After bringing all of this information to the public, Schneider became increasingly fearful for his life, his personal safety, his family safety, all that. He said government vans followed him. Several attempts were made to run his car off the road, and eventually his fears came true. January 1996, a friend broke into his apartment in Oregon, where his body had been for days. I mean, I don't even like to talk about it, but his friend came into the apartment and found him no longer with us, right? Now, at first, it was thought he had died from, just natural causes, heart attack, something like that, right? And then an autopsy found that he had a rubber tubing had been wrapped around his neck, or knotted around his neck after the autopsy. Now, the official verdict was that he took his own life. But his former wife, Cynthia, and several friends, they couldn't accept this, right? He was found with his legs under the bed, his head resting on the seat of his wheelchair in this unusual position for someone that took their own life. I don't want to use that word. And, there was blood nearby that did not seem to be Schneider's. And his lecture material and UFO writings were missing from the apartment. Yet valuables untouched, everything was undisturbed, but anything to do with Dulce, New Mexico was gone. The writings, the materials, they were there looking for something. So, did he take his own life? Did someone else do it? We don't know. We really don't know. So it's kind of hard to say. So those are two examples right there. Now, 3, 4, 5 people died, lives were affected. We got CIA operatives, Kennedy assassination, Marilyn Monroe, which again, that's going down the rabbit hole. But in all seriousness, the two military men, they lost their lives, and they were transporting what was believed to be alien technology, crashed UFO debris, and they're dead. They're gone, right? Phil Schneider blows the whistle, gone.
And so again, I ask, what is happening to our UFO investigators? Because that's a good question. There have been so many investigators over the years that have died under mysterious circumstances, like Dr. John Mack. He was a Harvard psychiatrist, actually the head of the psychiatry department. He was ridiculed by his colleagues. He was the one who started to uncover the abduction phenomenon. He did a book called Abduction. It's a great book, and I do recommend reading that. He was born October 4th, 1929 in New York, and died September 27th, 2004 in London. When his car was found run off the road, he died from impact. So, what do you think happens to our UFO investigators? It seems so many have died mysteriously. Craig Lange, engineer, hypnotist, abductee. He was also the assistant director for MUFON's Experiencer Research Team, which they called ERT, from 2011 to 2015. So, in February 2018, Craig was attending the National UFO Conference in Phoenix, Arizona. He was in good health, though suffering from a common cold. Family and friends were informed that he apparently was suffering from a streptococcal bacteria infection that turned septic extremely quickly. He went to the ER after the conference ended that day at 8:30 p.m. and under his own power, and was in a coma by morning, and now he's gone. It was a big loss for everyone who knew Craig, and I knew Craig. I had worked with Craig. At this meeting at the conference, he was to be talking to the groups about experiencers using GPS watches that could track altitude and location as a way to prove experiences were really happening. So what's happening to our researchers? Why are there so many that died? I must also bring up that there was a man named Otto Bender. He reported that in the 1960s, at least 137 UFO investigators had died under mysterious circumstances at that time. How crazy is that? 137. I would like to do more research on that at some point in time. So, with that, I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video that Nocturnal News and I put together for you. And if you liked my video and you like his videos, please subscribe. I'll leave his link below. Please subscribe and hit the little tiny bell, and we'll keep putting out more good stuff for you, okay?
Guys, in closing, Max Spears, I believe that's how you pronounce his name, mysteriously dies in 2016. Yet another UFO investigator, a well-known investigator. I remember the guy actually. Max told his mother 2 days prior to his death, if anything happens to me, investigate. Because he believed he was being followed. He was in fear, fear of his life, or for his life. Then he comes down with this, I don't know what to call it, mysterious illness, right? Now, his mother believes that his research, his UFO research, is the cause of his death. And this is kind of hard to talk about. It's very, very tragic, very sad. Okay, she said when her son left for the UK to travel to Poland, in order to participate in a UFO conference, he was in good spirits. He was happy, healthy, everything was fine. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary. She said he was a little paranoid, but other than that, nothing out of the ordinary. Now, it was reported that Max had a previous drug abuse problem, and this is what led to his death. But according to his mother, when she found her son unconscious on the couch, very hard to talk about, he was vomiting, vomiting up some type of mysterious black substance, that he was like throwing up, right? Okay, she described it as like this granular, like tea-like substance, like the tea you drink, like this powder, the little grains, like pepper, right? It's how she described it. Okay, so my thing is, was it an overdose? Was it, related to, some crazy government cover-up? I don't think so. If again, I'm always fair on the channel. I believe, maybe he had some problems, and that's what led to, being the end of his life. Maybe, but who knows, guys? Who knows? He was going to a UFO conference, apparently going to talk about some very important things, and he ends up dead. So it's crazy. Now, this man here, okay, another example. This guy here, Granger Taylor, left a note saying he was boarding an alien spaceship, then he disappeared. They found his truck blown up by dynamite. Bone fragments found, at the crime scene, is what they claim. But again, a lot of people say, no, it was a cover-up. He left a note, and here's the note. Dear Mother and Father, right, this is 1980. I have gone away to walk aboard an alien spaceship. As reoccurring dreams assured a 42-month interstellar voyage to explore the vast universe, then return. I'm leaving behind all of my possessions to you, as I will no longer require the use of any. Please use the instructions in my will as a guide to help. Love, Granger. Now again, guys, are these cases of mental illness? Is it, something more sinister? I don't know. I believe with the Kenneth Arnold and the other examples, I think there's more to it there. But these cases here, it could very well be, these guys just had issues. So I don't know, guys. Leave a comment below. What do you think? I know this stuff is kind of hard to talk about, but it's important that we do talk about it because I believe it is going on. But you can't label everything a conspiracy. That's my point. All right, guys. Leave a comment below.